Hello and welcome everyone. I am Moontante Musk, and I have for you brand new fucking album review of Petrol Grrrl's Baby. And let me tell you, it's hot, but I really don't fucking care because I have to get this review out. If I don't get this review out, I'm gonna lose my mind. That's not because it's bad. No, it's fucking amazing. And I had to make sure it was absolutely perfect. I had to make sure that the message was delivered here and this review serves as much justice as the album rightfully deserves. And speaking of justice, there is an injustice going on if you're living under a fucking rock with Roe v. Wade being overturned. And I feel like this album right here couldn't have come out at a better time than now, addressing this situation. And I feel like, granted, it wasn't put together the day of knowing, at least not to my knowledge. I feel like it was the knowledge of the bill being exposed. So they basically took it to the booth and brought it to our ears on here. And it hit right here. This is the rebellious battle cry that progressives, pro-choicers, and everyone needed. Women needed. All women needed on this album here. And if you didn't know, I'm like a huge fan of female fronted vocals for punk bands such as Otoboke Beaver, Slits, Sleater Kinney, or Crass on the Penis Envy album. Fantastic album. Check that out if you haven't. And this album kicks so much ass in the punk context. And I love Soul Glow. Love their Dysphoria album. But this may kick more ass. And that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. There's room in the top 10 for two punk albums. But I think this might be my punk album of the year right here. With the issues being dressed on here, the absolutely catchy hooks, the ferocity on here, the attitude on here, the mix of visceral and melodic and intricate instrumentation put on here. Like, it just hits so hard. A brash hit to the face for these monstrous people in power. And another conservative nightmare. Yes. And the bass is absolutely great. The way the guitars drone over Baby I Had an Abortion is just great. Really creates an atmosphere and intensity. And the way the drums just come in and just bash the listener in the ear and just pound, and the industrial chords bursted in there. It's just very, very hard hitting. But we will get back to this track because we're going to start it off with Preachers, which is pretty much exposing them for who they are. Very hypocritical monsters who try to act like they're high and mighty, but they're not perfect because they have skeletons in their closet. And it's pretty much addressed here with bars like, there's a lot of preachers, but I don't see no saints. A lot of fingers pointing, palms sweating under red paint. It's a fucking bar. Really pointing out the hypocrisy of the clergy and really exposing them for not being who they claim to be. And definitely hard hitting. The following track, Feed My Fire, I felt like the intensity was there, but I do feel like the vocals on here didn't really mesh as well when it came to like the melodic lines. I do feel it could have been assembled better. But after that, it's one hell of a ride after this. And not a happy ride. I'll say that. It's invigorating. It is ferocious. It is so real and raw. But the issues addressed here are just so moving. So moving, so powerful, and need to be addressed. And I'm so glad they did. And then going back to pro-choice song of the fucking year. This might be my track of the year. Maybe. Thinking about it. With Baby I Had an Abortion. And it just hits so hard. It's that ultimate punch in the fucking nuts to these bitch-ass pro-lifers. That's what this is. Excuse my language. Not really. Let it in. With hard-hitting lines like, they'll blessed is the fetus, but they'll damn the children in existence, which couldn't be more true. These weak-ass pro-lifers like, the born, so passe. It's all about the unborn. Yeah. And if you get the chance, blast this outside their house. Blast it outside the house of the Supreme Court. Yes, do that. I recommend it. The droning guitar lines and hard-hitting percussion will just bring them to their fucking knees. And then you have the song Clowns, which is definitely a slap in the face to these centrists who talk a good game but don't do anything to actually provide for the cause. You know, when you're not on the left, you're not doing anything. You're not supporting the cause, which needs to be addressed, which needs to be cared for, which needs to be solved. Basically, it's a shot to those who are condoning the neutrality of the situation. So neutral's not the way. Left is best. And because when you do that, when you're a centrist, you are just basically allowing these marginalized groups to be oppressed. You're allowing them to suffer. So it's better to do something than nothing at all. Now, as a cis man, I can't relate physically, but I could definitely sympathize for what she is talking about and for the pain and suffering of women. I could definitely feel that and advocate for change, to keep women safe, to empower them, to address the injustices that are going on. And this is an absolute wake-up call and kicking the fucking balls to those who aren't socially aware, who allow these miscarries of justice. And then, speaking of justice, definitely a hard-hitting follow-up with Violent by Design, basically saying how you have this organization that can protect women and collect income, but who are they really protecting? Themselves. Oh, and who am I talking about? I'm talking about the cops. That's who I'm talking about here. Like, this track is just an ultimate reflection on the true intentions of what really goes on. Like, I know they're probably like, oh, protect and serve? Huh. Thought it was about you and the marginalized groups, but no. It's about ourselves. Yeah. And pretty much she is just going off here with lyrics like, you got a lot of trust in thugs in uniform. So who is that you think they protect you from? When you do see them, who do you see when you see them? Model village citizen. Oh, are they the good guys? Are they nation pride? Always on the right side? The thin blue line is Violent by Design. And the vocals here definitely set the tone. Like, you could feel the pain. You could feel the heroism. the harrowing anguish and the frustration that they are going through on here. And the instrumentation just gives it that punch. It really gives it that oomph. And it is just needed. Delivered absolutely from the heart. And the message and feelings are 100% real. Unsettle is definitely a display of conflicting emotions. A cry for justice, but a fear of being alone, and a rejection of a dismal future. Basically, you want to be held but not held back, which is expressed very boldly on here, pretty much drawing a line here about wanting affection but not wanting to be held down, not being stripped of freedom. And Fight for Our Lives is another absolute fucking rager on here. Shot to the system, rebelling against the systemic injustices that are going on against women. Whether it be oppression, control, murders, and misogyny against women. All women, whether it be sex workers, trans women, indigenous, or what have you. Transitioning into another absolute fucking banger. One or the other. Definitely a heavy shot to the criticisms of victim shaming. And then Sick and Tired is another rager about being fed up and frustrated of the atrocity women face with many harrowing situations, many traumatic situations that have not been resolved. And Bones is absolute great closer to this album here. Very hard-hitting, very to the point. And this album is just fantastic. Like I said before, definitely making my top 10 in terms of album of the year, for sure. I friggin' loved it. I'm feeling a soft 4.5 on this album. And I'm trying my best here to give you my attention to the camera and to my notes. It's very hard here, especially when there's no editing, but that's not the point. Point is, this is a great album. How are you feeling on it? Are you feeling positive? Are you feeling negative? I want to know why. I am Untate Musk. This has been Petrol Girls, baby. And until then, I'll see you next time. Gonna take a shower. Goodbye. Till next time.